In a youthful school, every child should enjoy equality and respect. However, school bullying is like an unholy shadow that shrouds children's minds. School bullying, it is not a simple conflict or an occasional argument. Rather, it is a long-term, repetitive, and hurtful behavior. It happens quietly in every corner of the school, eroding children's safety and dignity. Bullies, who are they? They could be anyone, but psychologically, they share common traits. Cold and uncaring, narcissistic and impulsive, these traits make them stand out from the crowd. They lack compassion and empathy and use bullying as a means to gain or maintain social status. The bullied, what kind of being are they? They may be targeted because of differences in appearance, weight, sexual orientation, or gender roles. Inside, they bear the weight of depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and other emotions. Their voices need to be heard, their pain needs to be understood. Bullying, how far-reaching is its impact? Short-term trauma is just the tip of the iceberg. Long-term mental health issues, such as PTSD, self-injurious behavior, and even suicidal tendencies, are the real horrors of bullying. Are the truly horrific consequences of bullying behavior. What are the roles of family and school in bullying behavior? The home environment and parenting styles have a profound effect on a child's behavioral patterns. Authoritarian or permissive parenting styles can exacerbate bullying behavior. A loving, positively communicating family, on the other hand, can provide the strongest support for a child. Interventions, how do we act? Single-level interventions are geared towards a specific group of people and provide the necessary support and assistance. Multi-level interventions involve students, parents, staff, and the community at large. Our goal is to build an all-encompassing support system that provides shelter for the victim and correction for the bully. School bullying, it is a complex, social and educational problem. It requires the attention and efforts of each and every one of us. Only when we work together can we jointly create a safe and harmonious educational environment. In exploring the psychological background of school bullying, we have to delve into the inner world of the bullies. Their psychological characteristics, which are often significantly different from the norm, shape their behavioral patterns. Bullies often have a strong desire for control. This desire for control may stem from a desire for power or as a form of compensation for their own insecurities. Through their bullying behavior, they try to establish a false sense of superiority among their peers. Indifference and callousness is another distinguishing psychological characteristic of bullies. They often lack empathy and find it difficult to empathize with the feelings of others. This emotional deficit prevents them from feeling guilt or remorse when they hurt others. Narcissistic traits are also quite common among bullies. They may be overly self-focused, believing that their own needs and desires are superior to those of others. This self-centeredness leads them to ignore the rights and dignity of others in interpersonal interactions. Impulsivity is another psychological characteristic of bullies. They may be driven by emotions and act without considering the consequences. This impulsiveness makes bullying behavior often occur suddenly and catch people off guard. It is important to note that bullies may have cognitive biases. They tend to excuse their behavior by blaming the outside world or the victim. This cognitive distortion makes it difficult for them to recognize the inappropriateness of their behavior. Bullies may also have an antisocial disposition. They may not adhere to social norms, defy authority, and may even engage in illegal behavior. Antisocial behavior not only causes harm to others, but also poses a threat to social order. In terms of family background, Bullies may come from a dysfunctional family. Domestic violence, neglect, or overindulgence may be the underlying cause of their bullying behavior. These unhealthy family environments fail to provide them with proper behavioral patterns and emotional regulation skills. Inadequate social skills are also a characteristic of bullies. They may have difficulty in establishing and maintaining relationships. This difficulty may cause them to try to bond with their peers through bullying behavior, even if the bond is negative. Finally, bullies may have some unresolved psychological issues. These issues may include early traumatic experiences, identity struggles, or a lack of a sense of self-worth. These internalized psychological issues may drive them to seek attention or affirmation through bullying. In the shadow of school bullying, the bully often exhibits some specific psychological and behavioral characteristics. These characteristics, through no fault of theirs, are the effects of the bullying behavior on them. First of all, bully victims may exhibit a markedly introverted personality. They tend to be solitary and may appear shy or hesitant when interacting with others. This introversion makes them stand out in groups and sometimes becomes a target for bullies. Secondly, bullies may lack social skills. They may have difficulty in communicating with people and building relationships. This social impairment makes it difficult for them to fit in the group and makes them more vulnerable to exclusion and bullying. Bully victims often have low self-esteem. Prolonged exposure to bullying makes them doubt their own worth. This low self-esteem can affect their mental health and even lead to self-denial. They may exhibit symptoms of anxiety and depression. Long-term psychological stress from school bullying may cause them to develop emotional problems. Anxiety, depression, pessimism, these negative emotions follow them around and plague their lives. Bully victims may have some degree of learning disabilities. As a result of bullying, they may have trouble concentrating and their academic performance slips. School, the place where they are supposed to learn things, becomes a nightmare for them. In terms of interpersonal relationships, those who are bullied are often in a passive position. They may lack initiative and are easily influenced by others. In groups, they tend to become submissive rather than leaders. In addition, bully victims may have some external characteristics. For example, appearance, body type, race, and gender expression do not match the mainstream. These external differences make them different in the eyes of the bully. It is important to note that victims of bullying often lack a sense of urgency to seek help. They may think that they cannot change the situation and choose to suffer in silence. This sense of helplessness and despair makes them even more vulnerable to bullying. Bully victims may have some behavioral problems. For example, inattention, aggressive behavior, and self-harm. These behavioral problems, which are a way for them to cope with the stress of bullying, often do not really solve the problem. Finally, the family background of the bully is also an important factor. They may come from dysfunctional families that lack the necessary support and care. The unfavorable influence of the family environment makes them more isolated in the face of bullying. Bullying behavior, the malady that creeps into schools. It looms like a shadow over its victims every day and night. The effects of bullying go far beyond the physical scars. It penetrates deep into the mind, carving out wounds that are hard to heal. The victim's mental health takes the brunt of the impact. Depression, anxiety, and low self-worth become shadows that are hard to get rid of. Bullying in schools is like an invisible blade. It cuts children's sense of security and leaves them in a state of panic. Children who are bullied often fall into deep self-doubt. They begin to question their own worth and feel abandoned by the world. A prolonged experience of bullying can lead the victim to develop learning disabilities. School, the temple of knowledge, becomes a source of fear for them. The effects of bullying may also extend to the victim's ability to socialize. They become withdrawn, introverted, and have difficulty establishing normal relationships with others. In extreme cases, bullying can lead to self-injury and suicidal thoughts in the victim. This is the most serious consequence of bullying behavior, and the last thing we want to see. The effects of bullying are not limited to the victim. It can also wreak havoc on the overall atmosphere of a school and affect the mental health of every student. Bullying is a social problem that we need to face together. It requires the joint efforts of the school, family, and society to create a safe and harmonious learning environment for children. We must recognize the seriousness of bullying and we must take measures to protect the physical and mental health of every child so that they can grow up in love and respect. Family and school, the two cradles of a child's growth. They jointly shape children's worldview and values. The family, as the first social environment a child comes into contact with. The family, as the first social environment a child comes into contact with, sows the first seeds in the child's heart and has a far-reaching influence. Parents' words and behavior, family atmosphere, all the time, are shaping the children's behavior and habits. A harmonious and cozy family can provide the most solid support for children. School, on the other hand, is an important place for the socialization of children. It not only teaches knowledge, but is also a melting pot for cultivating ability and shaping personality. A good school environment can stimulate children's interest in learning, help them build self-confidence and develop teamwork. And social skills. Family education and school education complement each other and are indispensable. Together, they are responsible for the important task of nurturing children. Authoritarian or permissive parenting styles may lead to the formation of bad behavioral habits and psychological problems. A positive and healthy family environment provides children with the necessary emotional support and correct value guidance. The quality and manner of school education directly affects children's learning attitudes and mental health. A loving and respectful school environment. A loving and respectful school environment can help children build positive relationships and develop a healthy personality. Families and schools should be a solid foundation for children's growth, not an obstacle in their way. They should not be obstacles in their path. Parents and teachers should be the guides, not the pressure. Parents and teachers should be the guides of children on their way to growth, not the pressurizers. We call on families and schools to work together to create an environment of love, respect and encouragement for children. Interventions are a key weapon in the fight against bullying in schools. They act as a shield to protect the victim and deter the bully. Effective intervention begins with the identification of bullying behavior. This requires keen observation and empathy. Acting on bullying behavior as soon as it is detected. Delayed intervention may expose the victim to further harm. Schools should have clear anti-bullying policies in place. These policies need to clearly define bullying behavior and set out the appropriate consequences. Teachers and staff should receive specialized training to learn how to recognize bullying behavior and how to intervene effectively. Interventions should include support for victims. Counseling should be provided to help them regain their self-confidence and sense of security. At the same time, bullies need attention. There may be deeper problems hidden behind their behavior. Schools can adopt educational interventions that, through class meetings and workshops to raise students' awareness of bullying, Homeschool cooperation, 2, is an important part of intervention. Parental involvement is crucial in preventing and solving the problem of bullying. Community resources, 2, can be part of the intervention. Professionals, such as social workers and counselors, can provide additional support. Creating a reporting and tracking system that gives students a safe, anonymous way to report incidents of bullying. Regularly evaluating the effectiveness of interventions. Ensure they are adaptable to changing circumstances and needs. Finally, create a positive school culture that encourages respect, inclusion, and empathy so that every student feels accepted and valued. Bullying in schools is not only an educational problem, but also a social problem. It reflects the deep-rooted conflicts in social structure, cultural concepts and values. The social environment is like a mirror reflecting the current situation of education. The existence of bullying in schools is a reminder of the problems in our education system. The family, as the basic unit of society, has a profound influence on children's growth. Dysfunctional family environment is often a breeding ground for bullying behavior. The pressure of social competition continues to permeate down to the school. Competition among children in various academic and social areas can sometimes turn into bullying. Society's evaluation of individual success is too homogeneous. This singular view of success intensifies comparison among children. The popularization of the media and the internet has made the dissemination of information more rapid. However, it also brings negative impacts, including cyberbullying and other phenomena. Society's lack of care and support for disadvantaged groups. This neglect makes these children easier targets for bullying in schools. Society does not pay enough attention to mental health. The lack of adequate mental health, education and professional support makes it difficult to identify and solve problems in time. Inequality in education is also an important factor leading to bullying in schools. Differences in educational resources between different schools and different regions exacerbate the inequality among children. Society's awareness of and attention to bullying in schools is increasing. However, more efforts are needed to build a comprehensive prevention and intervention system. Educational reform needs to be synchronized with social reform. Only when the social environment is improved can education truly fulfill its role of nurturing human beings. Social and educational problems require the participation and efforts of each and every one of us. Only with the joint efforts of the whole society can the problem of bullying in schools be solved at root.